Good morning. Good Saturday morning, everyone. Welcome to meditation. So nice to see you all. This morning I woke up realizing, whoops, summer is floating away. The cooler, beautiful, beautiful mornings here. And so we have read this poem recently. The Summer Day by Mary Oliver, but I thought I'd put it back up because there's not too many more days where, of course, we live in San Diego where every day's close to a summer day somewhere. So that was one of the reasons I selected it this morning. The other reason I picked it, maybe the larger consideration, is because it is of this natural world. There is no forced imagery or visualization or imagining, no construction or fabrication. If you have a connection to this poem, you have it because you know it. You know the grasshopper. And you know this idea of its jaws moving as it eats the sugar from Mary Oliver's hand. And that's going to be our practice today. Our practice today is going to be resting, residing, and being present to the body, the breath, and the mind that you know, already know, not any idea of another one, or fabricated one, or one you think you should have, or the one you wished you could access now. We're going to actually be practicing with the mind, body, of course the heart, and the breath that is. And so I thought this poem would be a perfect gathering of our attention and awareness to those present moment realities. So I'm just going to wait a moment or two for the rest of our group to collect. I see Travis on. I want to wave at Travis. I haven't seen Travis in a while. It's lovely to see your face, Travis. You're right there up in the front of the gallery, which is lovely. So I can say hello. I see Karen. I haven't seen Karen in a while, so it's good. And many of you who I get to see more regularly, which is always lovely. Also, and Dia, I'm so grateful that you make time for this before work. Dia goes off to work on Saturday, a lot of work, and doing this before that is actually a beautiful thing and also a skill, and one that's not so easy to do, by the way. It's very easy to get caught in the other things we do, isn't it, that are more important than this practice. I don't know what that is, by the way, but I know we managed to find our way to those other things. So I'm always grateful, by the way, for those of us who commit ourselves each Saturday, beautiful, or for some number of moments each day. And that's going to be my request, is that as we're moving into this autumnal season, that we take some time. I'm actually going to be giving almost all of the instructions fairly early, spread out over a few moments, for this Vipassana practice that we're going to be doing today. Very much bare attention practice on the body and the breath. And I'd like you to commit yourselves, if you haven't been able to do so already, to listening to that for at least the 8 or 10 minutes of that practice as often as you can, because what I'm noticing, and you notice it too, is that just those few moments or more that we commit ourselves wholly wholeheartedly, whole-bodied, the whole mind, to a few moments every day changes everything. It changes who we are, it changes the world in all the both knowable and unknowable ways that it does. And there would be really no point to practicing if it were simply a matter of a moment of calm, though it would be pleasant and enjoyable in its own right. It is not actually the point. And so if you ever think, well, what the hell, what's the point of this? A few minutes, big deal. The rest of my life is chaos and insanity, and this mind of mine is hopeless. You have the same mind I do, by the way. What's the point of this? Well, there is a point. It is well evidenced and established. There is complete understanding and clarity about it. And yet, you don't commit. It's pretty phenomenal when you think about it. When you know completely that this is of benefit, not only to you, but the entire world and every being in it. You're like, I got stuff to do. I could clean out that utility drawer, part of my garage, or don't clean that out first. Clear the mind first. And then whatever other thing you clear will be meaningful. And I promise that. And so I want us to commit as a community again, because it's very easy in the midst of perceived chaos, life that is out of control, things not going our way, fears about the future, and what will happen to this world. It's easy to get caught in the spin of that and forget the grasshopper eating sugar from your hand, right? And so we commit like this. And so I'm going to get ready to begin. I'm going to check in just to make sure that we have everyone on mute. Thank you all. We're getting pretty good at this. And I promised that I will check to see that we're recording, and we are. So I think we've got those technicals handled. And so I'm going to read this this morning, and then we'll begin. So establishing yourself alert, wakeful, dignified, really, this precious human life that has been gifted to you, how do you sit in it? What seat do you take in the truth of that? The summer day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I don't know how to pay attention. Oh, I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? May recollect the preciousness of this human life, the truth of impermanence, the reality that we are left only with our karma and its consequence, and that there is the truth of suffering for which we all sit and wish for relief and its end. May this practice contribute, not only for ourselves, but for all beings everywhere, without exception, omitting none, freeing us all. And so we begin to incline the mind toward awareness of this body sitting, feeling in, drawing closer to the physical felt sense of the reality of this human life. Sitting and breathing here. And we allow ourselves naturally, appropriately to take a few deep breaths. I'll let you do that in your own time, in your own way, as we begin to come home to this body and settle. Inviting ourselves home to the softened animal body that is sitting here. We don't zero in on the breath, it's not useful. Can you get a sense of this body and awareness of the body and the sensations that are simply rising and passing here? The felt sense of warmth or coolness, of pressure, of weight, of mass and space. Maybe the sense of tightness or looseness. And then more subtle sensations of vibrations, tingling, numbness, pressure, throbbing, achiness, whatever is here. We're holding this whole body. In unconditional, gentle and loving attention. Knowing this body as the body. And as we turn towards this body, we begin immediately to cultivate qualities of heart-mind. We bring a receptivity and openness and allowing and acceptance, patience, a desire for clear seeing, for making contact, for this capacity gifted to us to know, knowing this body. And as we rest in the stillness of this body, which is rare we begin to notice, and we can very gently incline the mind towards the reality of the breath moving in and out of the body. That physical felt sense of rising and expanding, the softening, the release, and the out breath. We don't grab the breath. We gently turn to include the breath in the frame of the whole of this body. And then we commit ourselves to the sustained attention of this knowing of this body sitting here breathing. We commit ourselves on the in breath and the out breath. And as we catch a half a breath and then a breath, and then maybe an in breath and an out breath, we smile as we remember. This human life, this moment. There is no storyline to this body. There is only this body and the knowing of it. This breath moving through this body, rising and falling. We let the past, the present and its ideas, and the future, we let them all fall away for the truth of this body sitting here breathing. And rather than direct the mind, which is a habit of ours, we begin to settle back into the rhythm, into the texture of the breath itself. You can make contact with this breath wherever it feels most vibrant, most alive, most present in your own body. No ideas about the breath, let them go. How do you know the breath? By physical felt sense, by direct contact, by this very moment. It requires that we engage completely, fully. With each in-breath, we awaken a bit more. With each out-breath, we settle into the truth of our lives, into the truth of the body, the truth of the present moment, just like this. Resting in the metronome of the present moment, offering itself to us again and again. Wake up. And the mind begins to stabilize and to calm. Knowing the body is the body. Knowing the breath and its felt sense as it moves throughout the whole of the body. Feeling that wakeful, attentive, mindful, clearing mind. As it rests in that embodied presence, awareness of this body. And this breath. Notice the beginning of the breath, the middle, the movement of the breath in its rise or its fall, and the end. Staying present for it all. And as the mind stabilizes, becomes settled, less thinking, more knowing, the field of awareness naturally, effortlessly begins to expand. It includes then the body and the breath sensations, subtler senses in the body. And the field of awareness begins naturally then to include the space around the body, begins to open naturally in flickering moments, to include ambient sound or sense of space. And you don't have to stop this. This is a natural progression. You open, include, and notice this too, arising and passing. We come to know stillness, this pervading reality of stillness, through the movement and non-movement of our own bodies. We then also become aware of the pervading silence as we open into and then beyond the body, noticing sounds and not sounds, opening and including hearing. It happens naturally. And then remember that the prayer is this: it is in the knowing. This body is the body sitting here breathing. The breath is the breath coming and going. This sound is sound, appearing and disappearing, all into the vast, inclusive space of stillness and silence. Nothing out of place. No distress. As we drink in the stillness and silence, watching all objects in their appearance and disappearance, we rest in the present moment, wakeful, alive, present. And that field of awareness continues to open and expand. We're seeing it like a bright light appearing, like the sun in its rising. It shines on all things. We can include not only the body and body sensations, the breath in its rise and fall, sounds and their appearance and disappearance. We can open always and include them thoughts themselves, simply appearing in this vast open field of awareness. We can know a thought as a thought, just as we can know the body as the body. We do not claim the thought or reject it. We hold no ownership, just the knowing. We cultivate no opinion. Some thoughts we like, some we don't. Just noticing. But we don't close around the thought. We don't grip the thought. We don't identify, fixate, cling. We rest in that wide open, vast, still and silent space, knowing a thought is a thought. A sensation as a sensation. A sound as a sound. No disturbance, no distress, like a pebble dropping into a vast sea. And we then notice within this stillness and silence, within this grand appearance of awareness, shining its light in all things, we can notice the quality of mind as well. A mind that is clear or crowded, steady or restless, distracted, liberated. We don't need the words, we can simply know the quality of mind. We don't force the inquiry or the focus, we open to include it. Knowing the mind is the mind, like this. And if we get caught up in the objects, be it a sound, a sensation, a thought, or a quality of mind, we can always come back, beginning again right here in this body, sitting here, breathing. And in the knowing, we smile, present, alive, grateful. And we let the mind take the shape of this vast space. Everything be as it is. See it rising in its appearance and its disappearance and change. No resistance, no struggle, no separation. We rest in the truth of the present moment, rising and passing, just like this. We rest in that vast luminous awareness. That which knows the body is the body. The breath is the breath. Sound is sound. Thoughts is thoughts. And mind is mind. And we smile in the knowing. May we all have happiness and the causes for happiness. True and abiding happiness. Being gentle with yourself, just beginning to feel into the body. Hi there again. I took a brief break. A little more space for all. Like, oh, arising and passing. There she went. Yes, there I was. Hopefully you got a little stretch in you, a little opening of the neck and back in that few moments. I want to talk about this practice today. I had a strong impulse to go back to it because, of course, we've been working in the Mahayana tradition as we have looked at the Lojong slogans and the path of the Bodhisattva, which is a beautiful teaching and one that I both have an aspiration and a vow to. And so this is not to minimize any other practice, but we know that if we don't have something at the base, even in these other beautiful trainings, it can become fairly difficult to hold on, to make sense of it. You know, we're learning new things and opening to new possibilities and qualities of heart and mind, but we can also get lost if we don't have something stable at the base. And so I wanted to come back to this today. And I want to just talk with you. So again, feel free to come on or chat with all of us about how you experience this and how do you see it, both in your direct experience as being of potential benefit to you in your everyday. I think this is important for us to remember. So just come on, say hello or chat and I'll see it. And my husband just brought me my treat coffee. Here it is, a little iced coffee from, it goes there first thing in the morning on Saturday. It's quite sweet. Here's to my beloved. Thank you. Thoughts about this practice, the idea of daily practice. I want you to, if you don't have a daily practice, be doing this for the first 10 minutes at least of the recording. Hi, Ryan. Good morning.
Hi there. I thought that was an awesome interlude that it was a great teaching. Getting off the cam, like, poof, okay, you guys are on your own. I just wanted to say, you know, the power of beginning again for me. It's interesting how many times, sometimes I can go through a practice and not begin again. And then sometimes I find myself, you know, identifying the thoughts and all the sensations, but just having the ability to begin again is really helpful for me specifically. It's kind of a way to not latch on and really identify with some of the thoughts or emotions and feelings and just like sink back into the breath. I've found that a very helpful tool and just the practice. And you know, I'm fairly new to it. I don't consider myself like I got it all figured out, but it's that's been a real helpful way to get back. I like that your framing of the guardrail of the breath. So when I can remember to begin again, I can get back on that guardrail and just breathe and sink into that, you know.
Yes. Yes. Well, that mind of yours is just like this mind and others' minds. And the beginning again is a lifelong practice and a lifelong commitment. We're beginning again every breath, actually. And then we notice, right, that we're either there present with it or we're not present with it. And they're both beautiful noticings. And we learn how not to take any of it quite so personally. Right? Not quite so personally. This harsh thought, this pornographic thought, this murderous thought, this loving thought, and we smile at them all. And we don't mistake them for the truth of who we really are. We remember once again, this is the beginning again. And again, we remember that I am this knowing, as we all are, and then we just rest back in. And so I'm glad it's a benefit. And again, every day, we have to find our way every day again, because isn't it so easy for all of us, whether you have a 50-year practice or a 4-year practice or a 2-year practice or a 6-month practice. I don't know anybody who doesn't get caught up in the storylines because the repetition of those thoughts is so potent, right? And we're actually thinking about the same 20 thoughts, you know? It isn't like we're particularly creative in our thinking. It's, I like this, I don't like that. I like you, I don't like you. I like chicken, I don't like chicken. I want this, I don't want that, mostly. And didn't we notice that? I like that word, I don't like that word. I like that, I wish you wouldn't have said that. I like that she said that. It's all the same, really. And I love the truth of it shows itself so perfectly if we can simply open and bring some kind of attentive awareness, and also that kindness, that kind of awareness to it. Thank you, Ryan. And we're all beginners from beginning to end. I don't know. You know, the truth really is, after a several year practice, let's say the total truth of that, I can probably get stable a little faster than you, probably. After 26 years, my mind probably settles in. It's used to going there now, but it doesn't stay there. I have to start over. I get caught up in another thought. I get the thought, particularly as a teacher, then even things like, should I say something now? Would it be, or should I forget about it and just leave the, you know, it's all happening. And without a recrimination, without judgments, and without believing that there's something broken, or there's, in me, I smile. And that's probably different. I can smile at it. Yes, the mind like this, thoughts like this, preferences like this, bias like this, believe thoughts like this. And the more we can call them out in our everyday life, not just only in our time between the bells, the more skillful, the wiser, the kinder we actually all become. And so for me, I'll just speak for myself. For me, I don't know a way to that. I just don't know it. And I'm a psychotherapist. I have several other academic skills. All the thinking in the world has not helped me get to that. What has helped me get to that is the practice. And so I invite you to it every day for at least those 60 breaths, which is our commitment as a Sangha, at least to the 60 breaths, and then to those 10 minutes for stabilizing. I see somebody here. I'm going to take a look at that. You notice I don't have the right glasses on, so I'm doing all this stuff. Remind me of the song, Stop and Smell the Roses on the Way. Yes, that's right. Yes, the breath is the rock, the awareness is the rock, also always available. Yep, simple practices are the best. They are the base, and I think essential. That's why I came back to the beginning for us today. I think we can get spun up in lots of beautiful thoughts, but crowded and confused. And so this is always here and always available. Kind of shock absorber. If I lose mindfulness, if it's the ride's bumpy. Yes. Yes, the door of openness. The door itself is openness. And then all those beautiful attributes. Can you feel the openness? I could. And then within it, everything that is needed is available, whether that's patience or forgiveness, whether that's generosity or letting go. It's all there, already there. This is the Dzogchen Vajrayana reality. It is already there. It's how to get to it, how to open to see it. And I think these very basic practices in the Hinayana school set us up perfectly, because if we can't get that direct experience, there's nothing to access. There's no contact. We have to know it directly, as those Theravadan teachings help us understand. Noticing the days I practice, I listen more. Oh, isn't it true? Better able to watch, yeah, the urge to step in, to talk, to fix, change, to rush in. It's so true, isn't it? And this is where some of the aggression and some of the confusion comes from. We get gripped in that, those swells of thoughts that say this isn't okay and it can't be like this and I've got to change it and I've got to do something and it's got to be now. And whenever I feel that urgency, Lisa wrote the word urge. I'm going to go with the word urgency from the word urge. I hesitate. And that also is a practice, really, because usually I'm gripped in something, and it's always part of our conditioning. It is always a part of our preferencing, even when I have to say that ultimately it is true. It is true. It is not skillful. And so making that distinction with a little pause, with a little drop back in, with a little creation of that stability, that open space, that stillness and silence is always wise and always skillful. And by the way, I'm going to go back to what Bill said, always loving. That is its nature. It is inclusive in its nature and consequently loving and abiding and embracing in its nature. Whatever is needed then is available to us. And I see it over and over, and every once in a while still get caught in the gotta do it, change it. I know the suffering of this, even when, like I said, it was true. It was not necessarily skillful. And so I think we have to work in the practice, in the teachings, to integrate both so that we not only are relating to what is true, we are doing so with skill and with love. I think that takes a minute to get all of those online. Right? That's my experience too. Looks like somebody sent a picture and I can't see it, unfortunately, Ryan. Can other people see the picture in the chat? I apologize. It looks like you sent something. I'm sorry that we can't.
No, I can't see it either.
Okay.
It's just so funny that that photo was taken up on Palomar Mountain. I've been working up there recently, and there was a bench, an old bench that was carved out of some old, like a fallen cedar tree, and on the bench, the words were described: "Sit down, shut up, and smell the roses." And I thought it was like, I was sending it to all my friends because it was just, I just turned and there was the bench with that saying, and it was incredible. So yeah, I don't think you can share pictures on Zoom, so now I know.
I wish it were true. Please send it
Okay.
to me, Ryan, if you would.
Sure.
And I will include it in our newsletter. It sounds perfect to me. In the ocean, there is a pause between the waves. That's right. And it is our job to find ourselves into that open space and not mistake ourselves, right, for that temporariness of that wave. Never let the mind desert the body. Yeah, isn't it true? And how often do we notice? It can't feel, can't see, can't sense the body at all. Like, where is it? It's gone. When I work with young students, I ask them if they have felt their feet or their hands in the day, and they look at me like, no. And these are young ones who are 6, 7, or 8 years old, have already learned that they're supposed to be attending and can't stay in their body, even in the school setting. And so we're working on that now. That's the good news. We're no longer expecting that. I'm concerned, by the way, speaking to this being embodied for our children, as they are now being plunked in front of screens for the day, no longer in real contact with others, and they have busy parents, and often someone else, if anyone else, like a older sibling, supposed to be watching them watch that screen. And so I think we're going to have to really work hard together during this time to find a way. Because guess who's doing that already? We are, and the consequence of that has not been good, as we know. So let's not propagate the habit, even when we're limited to the screen. Let's be watchful. Yes, and Dennis, thank you. You do this beautiful work with children, getting them outside and in their bodies. And it's so critical, so critically essential. And it's essential for us too, by the way. I notice many of us, I'm very grateful for that also. Many of us are starting to recognize that we need commitments to embodied practice that includes yoga, walking, Tai Chi, Qigong, other beautiful forms of movement like dance, therapeutic yoga. It's infinite, really. Tennis, like what Dennis offers, surfing, being in the water. And we're going to have to keep working to find our way there, I think, more and more right now. So if you don't have that as a part of your everyday commitment, please also find a way. So we know these few things, this stillness and silence, this practice of stabilizing and grounding into the wholeness of our being, this then moving that body in some way joyfully, and also for some number of minutes, and then being outside, right? We know these three things alone change the quality of our heart, mind, and body. And so I'm asking all of us to commit more to this now, especially in these times of dramatically increased divisiveness. And I have the third recommendation I have for this week is to limit, to the extent that you can, your time on the screen. And for sure, your time being caught on CNN, Fox, any other number of news stations. It is important to know what's happening in the world, but the repetition of this is not good for the soul. It is good to know what's happening and then also commit to these other things so that you can hold whatever the truth is, as I said, with some kind of skillfulness and compassion, as we're working hard to do. The movement of the body is key. It's a daily requirement, we could say, a lot like breathing. And what that is for you, is not important. That you commit yourself in some loving way rather than a demanding way, I think is also critically important. We're in the mode, yeah, well, here's Carrie, Dr. Carrie, with the perspective. We're in this mode for the next year. I happen to think so without having your expertise, Carrie. I happen to think we're in this for a while, and I think learning how to do it well and then to use everything. Remember, this is the Bodhisattva path. How do we use everything to the benefit? How do we now use the time at home, or the time not going out, or the time not in other distraction to the greatest benefit? Well, we just named 3, and I really want to see everybody begin to build these in, and that is 60 breath minimum, or 10 minutes or longer in meditation and mindfulness practice, and then every minute throughout the rest of the day. some moments in movement. They say 20 is the minimum. I'm getting at the minimum on my yoga mat and on my melt roller and moving the body every day. Every single day is the priority. And then sometime really being out in the open expanse of the truth of our true nature, which is nature itself, whether that be the beach, the sky, the garden, the trees. Yeah, the path and the problem are one. There is no separation. Yes, awakening joy to the to-do list. Here's what the research says about that. The research says if you do the first three, awakening joy is inevitable. That you cannot avoid the realities of joy, of the truth of being alive, if we do those three tasks. If we stabilize, settle in stillness and silence, move the body for 20 minutes, and spend some time outdoors in nature, it says joy is inevitable and cannot be avoided. I think so too. Yes, it does make a huge difference. I'm glad that it's being of benefit to everyone. Singing, yes, we know all of these things are awakening joy. Dennis, by the way, the research on awakening joy said to move the body joyfully and to sing out or speak out joyfully actually lifts the elevation of the body into mind states of joy much more easily. And in fact, when we were doing our Awakening Joy class, I don't know if any of you recollect this, but we made a commitment to sing, dance, or both for at least 8 minutes a day. By the way, those 8 minutes were a number that came out of some studies at Cambridge that said doing so for 8 minutes, whether it's listening to music, singing to it, and dancing, which is what I chose to do because I was had a too busy time at that time, but I could make that commitment. And wow, didn't it do what it said it would, which is raise that vibration and that energy in just those 8 minutes. And so that would be another thing we could certainly add to our list. However, I want to go to my first statement, which is those first three lead naturally to those others. And if you're having to make a choice between dancing right now and 60 mindful breaths, I want you to take the 60 mindful breaths because I know that will lead naturally to the other. Okay, so there's a cause and effect reality to these, and I want you to take them to some extent in that order. I'm going to say, let's stay in order, 60 breath minimum, moving the body for 20 minutes, being out in nature, and I want you to see the cultivation of that joy in other moments of your life. By the way, so says the research and my experience, I know yours too, whatever else you do, whether you're baking cookies or tending the garden, whether you're driving a return package somewhere or taking a walk in your neighborhood, that joy will be available. And what do we know about joy since we're speaking about it? Thank you, Bill and others. We actually know that joy is a state of mind. It is not what you're doing. It is a state of mind. And so I'm asking us to be committing to setting a certain quality of state of mind and body so that we can be available to that joy and to that forgiveness, to that patience, to that generosity. And they all come from that quality of mind. So, yes. Anything else? While I take another sip. Are there any questions about the practice before we end? Again, my recommendation is at minimum 60, those 60 breaths, or that first 10 minutes of this recording. If you are not a daily practitioner, let's work on that. Let's work on that. You will thank us all later for that. So let me see. I was just going to show you the 0.6 since I don't see anybody coming on. I was going to show you the 0.6. If I can get to that. Let's see if I can find it. No, it doesn't look like it. Let me go here. And if I can't get it quickly, then we're just gonna let it go and I'll send it to you. I don't think this is probably it, but let's look. Nope, we're back at the poem. Can't say that's a bad thing. So I got one more chat and then we'll close. Sound is sound. My meditation was infused with nail guns and saws. Yep, perfect practice. Because don't we have preferences? Don't we? Yes, we do. But the beauty of sound is sound. And hearing is hearing. It is what we do with it then. And hopefully there's something beautiful happening with those nails and saws. All right, everyone, I think we're good then for the day. Let's sit for a moment together. Once again, before we end. I promise to have my better glasses next time so I can actually see. And you're going to commit to daily practice if you don't have one, and if you have one, commit to one joyfully. And so we once again turn awareness of this beautiful mind, turn it towards awareness of the body sitting here. These are actually words from the Satipatthana Sutta. Knowing the body as the body, sitting and breathing. I didn't make that up. And you don't really need instructions beyond that because the mind naturally begins to do its waking down into the body, just feeling it in its present moment, the bend of the hip or the knee, the uprightness, the feet on the floor, maybe a certain inner quality of restfulness or restlessness. And it doesn't take very long before, as we turn the mind towards the body, we begin to become aware of the breath. And we are not changing the breath. We're not making it anything. We're just noticing the natural rhythm of the breath, the sensations of the breath, the rising and falling of the breath. And then I'd like us to remember the reason for our practice: to end suffering and to propagate happiness and freedom. And then may we offer all the benefits, all the merits of this practice and all practice. May we gather it into the heap of this awareness. And then willingly, humbly wholeheartedly offering it. And that's where we can use that phrase in the 10 directions and the 3 times. That covers all the bases. We offer it wherever needed, wherever it can be of benefit. And you can't possibly know the truth of that until we're in that present moment. I can offer this. This is the whole of the Bodhisattva path. And we rest in that vast heart mind. May we call to mind any special ones, those we know are in particular moments of difficulty, distress, conflict, or suffering. And we offer this practice to them. May we all have happiness and the causes for happiness. True happiness. May we all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, both internal and external. May we rejoice in the truth of this precious human life and all of the blessings that we have both received and offered. And may we rest each day. May we commit ourselves to rest in this vast open space of stillness and silence. Letting go of all this clinging, all this fixation, all this identity, making room for the whole world to fit in. May we be joyful and have ease and smile. And may this practice contribute that it be so this very day. So be it. So be it. Thank you all for being here. It is a delight for me. Thank you. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. It's gorgeous here. I hope it's pleasant for you wherever you're at. And if it's not pleasant on the outside, let it be pleasant on the inside and bring that sunshine. So good to see you all. Blessings to all of you. Thank you for being here with me always. I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.